I need some experts in the chat. We're here at, my uncle has like an old storage unit and he pulled all of these out. It's like the original Mattel boxes that were shipped to stores. I think that's what this is for Hot Wheels. So we have some Matchbox here still in the box. This is like a sealed license plate cover. I actually want to open this up and maybe put this on my truck because that's freaking sick. Boxes and boxes of the Hot Wheels, like what they sell for retail. And some of these here in like a shoebox. These are just like randoms that I guess are loose. But these other ones are actually stacked, I think, pretty nice here in the box, like how they would be from the store. Yeah, see here, this is like a complete box here of the Hot Wheel cars. Tons of duplicates, and I think these are all from 2003. I'm almost positive that's when these were shipped out. So they're not old, like super old, but they're definitely getting up there. Like this is from Kmart. I don't think this is Hot Wheels, but a bunch of like miscellaneous stuff, some Hess trucks. There's another one. Definitely let me know. Like right here it says 2003 first editions, and that's all that's in this box. So yeah, definitely pretty cool. Hit me up either in the comments or on Instagram just to give me some info on this. We're not really like looking to sell because I'm sure the value of this is maybe like $100. It's not a big deal, but it would definitely be cool to just get some history on it because I dig it, man. This is a cool little hobby. Time is running out, guys, on the In-Chain Designs giveaway for the Supra and the CAMARO ZL1. I got a chance to drive both. They're insane cars. I want one of my followers to win. One of my followers won last time, and I definitely want that to happen again by buying any one of my products. A single t-shirt or a knife is worth almost 400 entries. This knife right here to be exact. Literally paint match to the Glacier Blue on my Silverado ZR2 out there. So if you sort of want some ZR2 merch, here you go. Just in time for Top Gun, the Top Dad shirt. Get your dad a shirt, a knife, and you know what, by next week being like, hey dad, I just got you a brand new Camaro or Toyota Supra. So with a 2-vehicle giveaway going on right now and times 10 entries, your chances have never been better. Thank you guys so much for the support. First link down in the description. I cannot wait to hand you the keys to a brand new Camaro or a Toyota Supra. Good luck, guys. At the farm, I'm taking this truck to Roush Creek tomorrow, so it's first true off-road test. I'm a little bit nervous because it's like, hey, we're gonna take it easy on some green trails, some blue trails. You guys know how this goes. It always gets out of hand.
Oh yeah, that's deep. That's a tough climb out right there.
And yes, I know, a bit of a generic video here. 5 things, I think that's the number I'm going with, or whatever the title and thumbnail say, that I hate, dislike, whatever, about my Silverado ZR2. So the first one, you guys know, we'll get this one out of the way because I don't want to be generic with the things I dislike. I'm going to try and find some new stuff the channels may have not mentioned, but the first one, we have to mention this and just get it out of the way. I won't spend too much time on it. Not having a wide body on this truck. You look at the side profile, if I slap some Trail Boss badging on the back, you pretty much would think that this is just a regular 1500 Trail Boss. I know there's some slight differences, but for the most part, not having a wide body kills this thing's chances at looking as good as the TRX or Ford Raptor. We got a wide body kit on order, super back ordered, so it may take a few weeks, but it's just fiberglass, but the truck's gonna be getting wrapped here anyway, so it doesn't matter. And I'm gonna be saving the fenders off the truck just so I can return it to factory once we're all done. That's something you guys need to look out for. Wide body kit coming for the Silverado ZR2. Gonna totally transform this truck, along with working with Kong Performance. Even though they don't make a supercharger for these trucks, they've worked with companies before who do make superchargers for the 6.2 liter. So yeah, wide body and a Procharger, that's gonna be pretty sick. But for number 2 here, and this one's very, very easy. I'm sure it's been mentioned before, and I keep comparing this to the TRX or Raptor because I want this thing to be what it was supposed to be, which was the Chevy Silverado Jackal or whatever Chevy was going to call this thing. But the size of this muffler on this truck is outrageous, just so fat. As I'm talking here, I can literally hear it like echoing. It reverberates off all of that aluminum underneath. That's how big that muffler is. It's like a giant drum. With a muffler that size, this truck does not sound that great. I could equate this to just a regular family SUV. It's more so engine noise that you hear than actual exhaust sound. Like that deep throaty V8 that you would normally hear, you don't get any of that. And the reason why this is a little upsetting and it deserves a number 2 at least on this list is because the excuse would always be, this is supposed to be an appeal for all truck. That's what Chevy does. This is the ZR2. It's time to step it up. This thing should sound exactly how the F-150 Roush that I tested, how that was a great stock exhaust. I think Borla is what came on that. That's what this should sound like from the factory. I mean, come on, this sounds so stupid.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Okay, never mind. That was stupid. My next complaint is a big one. I'm kind of hiding behind the truck here because of the freaking wind. It's so windy up on this hill. Pricing for this truck starts at around $69,000, and there's not too many options that you can add to increase that price too much. So around $70,000, give or take, is the manufacturing suggested retail price of this vehicle. Which, okay, Chevy's coming out with a big bad off-road truck. 70 grand, I can see it. There's just one problem with that, and this was mentioned in Doug DeMiro's video. I'm taking some advice from him. If you want a Ford Raptor, which is arguably better than this truck, it makes more power, debatably looks way cooler, has more history than Chevy in off-roading, is also starting at $70,000 MSRP. And I'm not a GM hater, I'm not really a Ford hater. Every Ford I've owned though has been extremely lacking, at least over the past 15 years, in terms of build quality. This Chevy so far as I can tell, is at least put together correctly. Everything's like, none of these body panels are popping out, minimal stuff like that. I just actually talked with a follower this morning saying that his ZR2 Silverado, he's about ready to sell, trade in, get rid of, because he's 3,000 miles in and has so many issues. Luckily, I don't have that yet. And by yet, I meant until about 3 days ago. And I'm such an idiot because I did not turn on my camera. This is 3 or 4, whatever we're on. I think we're on number 4 now of Ballistic Complaints. And the reason I screwed up is because 3 days ago, my check engine light came on. You can see right there, I have 2,746 miles, so just shy of 3,000. The check engine light was on, and it cleared by itself. Now, I don't know, I'm not a mechanic by any means, but I thought that if you hook up like one of those diagnostic machines to read codes, it would tell you, hey, this did throw a code at one point. It cleared, but it was still, at one point, was on the dash, and the computer thought something was wrong. This is my biggest complaint so far with this vehicle. I don't know anything because I'm not a mechanic, but as far as the comments were in diagnosing what it might be, because this has been a known issue, I guess, with 6.2 liter engines, is lifter issue could be one of the causes that I've been having, or it's something like a DOD system. There's so many different names for like a fuel management system that's going on where it dials the engine back from 8 cylinders to 4 cylinders. You guys have heard of that before. And that might be the cause to a insane stuttering issue I've been having with the vehicle. It happens at any speed pretty much, unless I'm going like above 70 miles an hour and the engine's getting some good gas. I guess at that point it would never shift down to 4 cylinders, so maybe it is my fuel management system. I've heard a lot of complaints with Chevy Silverados and this engine and just acting up for people. Lifter issues, there was something else I can't remember, and the fuel management system being a huge problem in this truck at 3,000 miles. It was also doing it at the dealership even during the test drive, which I thought was just the break-in period. So did the salesman, so no harm, no foul on their end. They were just trying to sell a truck. These small things happen during learning periods for vehicles, but after a cross-country road trip and these issues still happening, that stutter, it's kind of alarming because it's like, well, it's under warranty, it's under this, it's under that. Well, what happens if I were to keep this truck or sell it and it never gets fixed, but it sort of resolves itself and the damage is done? I never really understood the whole fuel management system, and I'm super ignorant to the whole mechanical abilities of these 6.2 liter engines. But wouldn't you think if a couple of those cylinders are shutting off, those other ones are still wearing and tearing? There's combustion, it's exploding. There's way more stress on those cylinders that are activated rather than the deactivated ones. So my concern is like, it seems like it's just a stupid way to try and save fuel. I bought a V8 engine. I know what I signed up for. We'll mention here for stuff that I dislike on this truck, but isn't enough to like give it a spot, is the chrome fixtures. I mentioned this before on my Colorado ZR2 video, but this is for the Silverado. They're getting better though. They're getting way, way better. This sort of piano finish here, that's what I asked for. People seem to hate piano finishes. Oh, it's hard to clean. It's blah, blah, blah. It's always going to get dirty. You have black interior on most of these trucks. It's going to get dirty. Yes, the piano finish shows it a little bit more, but it's better than this stupid chrome, brushed nickel. I don't care. Any of that silver crap, I hate it. This stuff I can see getting away with, but imagine if this was the piano finish and this was sort of like an off gray. Interior isn't that bad. Chevy, unfortunately, just cannot help themselves. The ZR2 badge up here, which is massive, almost too big. It's actually crazy how big this badge is. I dig the color scheme, but again, they can't help themselves. Chevy has to throw the old man chrome on there. And the worst part about this truck in terms of chrome is this beautiful 6.2 liter badge, all silver, gleaming in the sun for everyone to see. And on the front here, the massive flow tie. I love this thing. This thing is huge. The red accents for the special ZR2 colors. It's sort of like their accent colors on this machine. This Chevy bow tie had to be in freaking chrome. Other than that, interior wise, everything is phenomenal. The yellow stitching, these cool little storage containers back here. Chevy's trying. They're just not trying hard enough. I always ask, why was the C8 so perfect? Like, that destroys the Mustang and anything that Dodge is putting out in terms of an awesome V8 sports car. The sad truth is that Corvette isn't really Chevy anymore. That's a whole different department. They don't mess with the old CEOs, the old heads that are kind of ruining Chevy's builds. I mean, you guys saw what happened to the Blazer. It's nothing like what the Bronco is and what it could have been. This is what the Blazer should have been. And I think if Corvette, like that department, would have designed the Blazer, that's what it would have been. It wouldn't have been what it is now. Number 5 here is the tire size. Factory 33s, which is fine. You want to stick me with factory 33s, that's okay, Chevy. You already know I'm going to replace them anyway, so why bother giving me any bigger tires? You gave me the 33s to keep costs down, all that, blah, blah, blah. And here I go again. The TRX can fit 35-inch tires from the factory and 37s with a little bit of rub. The Ford Raptor can fit 37s from the factory. Those come on the truck as an option. There is no upgrade from Chevy at this moment for bigger tires. Here's something that's horrifying about these tires, and I bet you no one has mentioned this yet. These 33s rub factory. These tires on this truck currently rub. Now, granted, I don't think they're hitting the plastic here. I think they're just grabbing this carpet. So it isn't technically a rub, but I mean, it's hitting something. So I can't imagine if I put 35s on here that had some knobs on it, that would pick that carpet right up and roll it over. And anyone that says, well, you don't need to do that, you absolutely do. That's what was so key for the Chevy Colorado ZR2 I had, and what made it so bulletproof was the insane ground clearance, which again, this thing is lacking.
Oh, dang, they should really have a rock slider on that.
It has good approach angles, but in terms of ground clearance, I think it's a full 2 inches lower from the factory than the TRX and the Raptor. So if anything, it needs those bigger tires more than those two trucks. Overall, this is a good truck. If the engine was working 100% for myself, I would say this is a great truck. We've already shown how well this truck can jump. I'm not gonna lie, I think it was more comfortable than whenever I went over in the Ford Raptor. I'm super grateful to have a truck like this. Don't think it by any of these complaints, I'm ungrateful to own a machine like this. I'm super lucky to do this for a living, and I'm very, very humbled. So none of this stuff is me like actually being super upset. These are just little complaints about the Chevy Silverado ZR2, and I'm hoping, praying, and dreaming that the Chevy Silverado ZR2 Bison is in the works. So imagine that, and I can assure you, I didn't get the Bison Colorado ZR2 because it didn't seem to offer that much of an upgrade, but I could see on this truck, those upgrades that AEV offers would come in so handy. And I bet you a lot of you guys are like, I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think that they could be coming out with the Bison edition of the Silverado ZR2 for next year. Fingers crossed. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Follow me on Instagram, RFRacing717. Subscribe if you want to see more content on the Silverado ZR2. Stay up to date on its off-roading endeavors. And say flow tie if you guys made it this far in the video. This thing's awesome. I'm pumped, but a little bit nervous for the off-roading session tomorrow in the Silverado ZR2.